this is ridiculous. It's kind of be afraid, be very afraid. Hey y'all, welcome to T-Ham 141 Homestead. This is Tracy speaking. I am perplexed. The National Institutes of Health. People are flocking out of the cities like crazy. And I'm telling you, they don't like it. The powers that be don't like it. Here's an article, a real article, National Institutes of Health. You can go to www.nih.gov/news events. I mean, yeah. And we're gonna go through this a little bit. I don't want to get off on politics or stuff like this, but this affects us. This affects the homesteaders in the rural areas. Okay, let's dive in. The risk of developing heart failure is much higher in rural areas versus the urban areas. Adults living in rural areas of the United States have a 19% higher risk of developing heart failure compared to their urban counterparts. Now, be very afraid, black men living in rural areas have an especially higher risk, 34%, according to large observational studies supported by the NIH. NIH, Dr. Fauci, who is overseen and kept in line by his wife in personnel, is the head of the NIH, okay? The study, one of the first to look at the link between living in rural America and first-time cases of heart failure, underscores the importance of developing more customized approach to heart failure prevention among rural residents, particularly black men. The study was largely funded by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, part of the NIH, and the findings produced in collaboration with Vanderbilt University Medical Center, Nashville, Tennessee, published today in JAMA Cardiology. We did not expect to find a difference of this magnitude in heart failure among rural communities compared to urban communities, especially among rural dwelling black men, said Veronica L. Roger, MD, MPH, the study's corresponding author and senior investigator with the epidemiology community health branch of the alphabet. This study makes it clear that we need tools or interventions specifically designed to prevent heart failure in rural populations, particularly among black men living in these areas. You live in a city, New York City, the harshest problems with the pandemic were in the cities. Okay? So you move to the country. What do you do in the country? Well, I got my garden, I got my chickens. If I want to do pigs, I can do pigs. Oh, wait a minute. There is a disconnect between our supply chains and you. We'll get to that in a minute. Researchers from NHLBI and Vanderbilt University Medical Center analyzed data from the Southern Community Cohort Study, a long-term health study of adults in the southeastern United States. They compared the rates of new-onset heart failure among rural and urban residents in 12 states: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. The population, which included 27,115 adults without heart failure at enrollment, were followed for about 13 years. Nearly 20% of participants lived in rural areas. The remainder lived in urban areas. 20% of the participants lived in rural areas. The remainder lived in urban areas. So 80% lived in urban areas and 20%, that doesn't seem like an equal study. Almost 69% were black adults recruited from community health centers that care for medically underserved populations. So the primary test group were black people living in the city. Only 20% lived in the rural areas. At the end of the study period, the researchers found that living in rural America was associated with a increased risk of heart failure among both women and black men, even after adjusting for other cardiovascular risk factors and socioeconomic status. Overall, the risk of heart failure was about 19% higher in rural residents than in their urban counterparts. However, black men living in rural areas had the highest risk of all, a 34% higher risk of heart failure. The study showed that white women living in rural areas had a 22% increased risk of heart failure compared to a white woman in urban areas. The black women had an 18% higher risk compared to the black women in urban areas. No association was found between rural living and heart failure risk among white men. The exact reasons behind these rural-urban health disparities are unclear and are still being explored. Researchers said that the multitude of factors may be at play, including a structural racism, inequities in access to health care, and a dearth of grocery stores that provide affordable and healthy foods, among others. You're in the country. You want to solve the problem of grocery stores, of not having enough grocery stores selling healthy food. Grow some. My word. Hunt some. Raise some. Finding an association between living in rural areas and an increased evidence of heart failure is an important advance, especially given its implications for helping to address geographic, gender, and race-based disparities. Director of the Division of Cardiovascular Sciences, we look forward to future studies testing interventions to prevent heart failure in rural populations as we continue to fight heart disease. Guys. Did they take age into this factor? You live in a rural area, chances are you are more likely to have a physical job, working physically, whether you're in a lumber yard, you're more likely to have a physical job. You work hard all your life. As you get older, of course, you're going to have a higher risk of heart problems because you've worked hard. We don't always eat healthy. But guys, this whole thing, they didn't say what the ages were. This is ridiculous. It's kind of be afraid, be very afraid. Basically, guys, the pandemic hit. People from the cities started moving to the rural areas. Why? Because they found out, hey, me living on top of someone else is not a good thing when you come to diseases and such. They moved to the countryside. Okay, remember, this is 27,115 adults. That is significantly small. It might even be a small enough percentage to be insignificant. What benefit would it be to them, to anyone in control, to have people corralled up in cities together? Control. I don't care where you live. You need to eat healthy. Speaking of eating healthy, let me show you something. Friday, February 17th, 2023. Okay, you see that? 9:54 a.m. This is a loaf of bread. I alluded to this in one of Annie's. I'm watching Annie. She's down to like 8 hours that she needs to make her watch hours to be monetized. I'm excited for her. Best if sold by December 20th, 2022. right above my finger there. December 20th, 2022. So that would make this almost 2 months old bread. The crust is a little bit hard. It smells a little yeasty. Let's dig into this. Seeing any? Okay. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. There is no mold. There is no mildew anywhere. And it smells good. I would use this in a sandwich had I not seen the expiration date. It's going to the chickens now. Now let me ask you a question. How long is bread supposed to last? Originally, and this has not been frozen or preserved in any way other than in the bag and in my cupboard. In the Bible, the disciples' prayer, commonly called the Lord's Prayer, Jesus teaches them to pray, give us this day our daily bread. Why? Because after a day, bread starts to go bad when it's not chock full of preservatives. What are you eating in here? What is keeping mold and mildew from wanting to eat this? If it's bad for mold and mildew, maybe it's bad for you. And what do we do about this? Well, you can start baking your own bread. That's tough. That's hard. I love to bake from time to time, but to bake my own sandwich bread and stuff, probably be a lot cheaper. Of course, for the price of it, it should last $4.50, $4.49. It should last forever. Guys, look at the stuff we're putting in our bodies. You wonder why we're having health issues? That's just bread. Bread has been for centuries a basis of every meal. I am not for being woke at all, but it's time to wake up. Okay? They're poisoning us with these preservatives. I don't need preservatives. My body is a machine created and designed to take care of itself. Guys, it's control. If you come from a desk job and all of a sudden start farming, you might hurt your heart if you don't do it right. Comment below, guys. Comment below what you think. We can't control you if you move to the rural areas. We can't control you if you are not all bunched together. Why do you think they created the ghettos in Germany? So that they could control the people they put in the ghettos. Makes me mad. I don't even know if I should give this to my chickens. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and that little notification bell so that you get notified every time I come out with new content, guys. Check out tham141homestead.com for the blog. There are 3 subscriptions. There is a free subscription where you'll get 2 blogs every month. There's a 99-cent subscription if your credit card company will let you do it. And then there is a $1.99 subscription if you can't do the 99-cent subscription. Y'all have a great day, and God bless.